My name is Karen Waite, and I am doing my Learning Teaching Experience 1, and it is Developing an Outlook for Outreach Family Life Education. What is your definition of family? As family life educators, we need to know what our definition of family is, and what that is will have a huge effect on how we as educators relate to our clientele, especially those who may feel excluded by our definition. We know that the family is the fundamental unit of society, and that's from the proclamation to the world. Why does the world have such a problem figuring out their definition of society? What is a real family and a good family? We now have the first society in human history without a clear social consensus about what constitutes a real family and good family, and I don't see one emerging anytime soon. And this is from The Intentional Family, Simple Rituals to Strengthen Family Ties by William Doherty. Now, is family someone that you love? Anyone that you love can be your family? As family life educators, we need to have a statement of principles. And I'm going to share some with you. Having a statement of principle is going to help us grow. And we have to grow if we want others to grow. And as family life educators, we need to apply principles when we're practicing family life education. Families need to gain knowledge and then act on them, or they're going to keep having the problems that they're having. And our job is to teach families to have positive outcomes. The first principle is empathy. People are going to have different lifestyles. They're going to have different circumstances, and we need to try and see the world through a different perspective. We need to be open to any kind of circumstance or lifestyle that somebody might have, and that's having empathy. And Elder W. Craig Zwick said, "We can minister grace through compassionate language when the cultivated gift of the Holy Ghost pierces our hearts, and when empathy for the feelings, empathy for the feelings and contexts of others. If we as facilitators are compassionate and understanding, our participants will respond more positively." And that makes sense. If someone shows us compassion and patience and understanding, we're going to respond positively to that. So we need to make sure that we're showing compassion and understanding to our participants, and they will be more receptive to what we have to say. The next one is principle of agency. People are free to make choices. And as family life educators, we're inviting people to make choices. Sometimes people create problems for themselves by telling themselves victim stories where they suffer at the hands of others. And as educators, we might do that ourselves, but the participants may as well. And we need to make sure that we use our power, that we need to use our power to grow instead of feeding on those stories, whether they're our own stories or the participants' stories. We need to not feed them. The next principle is the principle of loss. Sometimes we need to risk or sacrifice. Good choices are never easy. Usually we're going to end up losing a friendship. President Monson said, "We may ever be encouraged and prepared to stand for what we believe. And if we must stand alone in the process, we may do so courageously, strengthened by the knowledge that in reality we are never alone when we stand with our Father in heaven." The next principle is integrity. We need to put moral concepts into action and keep track of how they affect us and how they affect others. We should ask ourselves, what do you feel best about? What do you think would show respect for that person? And then the next principle is the principle of movement. People are actively moving toward one set of goal or another. And the key is to keep moving. We need to encourage people to keep moving. And we need to try and teach our participants that change is an ally. It's not our enemy. It's okay to change and to make our lives better. The next one is goodness. As humans, we have the inclination to fight, protect, and preserve life. As family life educators, we need to show participants compassion, and this can help them show compassion to other family members. When life seems tough, home can be a place where we can find love, compassion, and warmth within our family. We need to feel reassured that someone understands and cares how we feel, and the compassion we witness and experience at home inspires us to be more compassionate to others. And that's how it will be with our participants. If we're showing compassion for them, they in turn will show compassion for their family members when they go home to be with their family. And then the principle of chaos. We need to allow for imperfection and untidiness in our lives and in relationships. And in family life education, there's going to be untidiness. There's always going to be people who are not going to receive our recommendations. They're not going to do what we think they should do. And we need to acknowledge that change is challenging for some people, and it's not easy to change. The next principle is readiness for change. Change cannot be achieved through force. We can't force anybody to grow. And in family life, as a family life educator, our participants will need help more. They'll be helped more if we show them compassion and appreciation than pointing out their shortcomings. And then the principle of discovery. We can learn a lot from one another. We need to be open to other people's experiences and their perspectives. The most capable family life educators draw on the life experiences and creative thinking of the participants. Each participant will bring a different set of tools and perceptions. So we need to be open to hearing other people's ideas, because people have lots of great ideas. We all have different ways of thinking. And then the principle of synergy. Instead of trying to prove yourself right, work toward joint possibilities. You're likely to be more effective as a family life educator if you're not bounded by your own poverty of options, but if you draw on the wealth of possibilities in the group. Lots of people have great ideas they can contribute. And then the principle of legacy. Invest in other people rather than you being the standard of judgment. Avoid meeting your needs at all costs. Show the participants how they've grown. Invite your participants to find glory in their family story. And then lastly is the principle of evil. We can all be forgiven for being selfish. We all make mistakes. And we're going to come across people who won't experience immediate growth from what we teach them, because they've gone through a lot of suffering and heartache in their lives. And we need, as family life educators, we need to be listening and realizing when that person needs to be referred to mental health professionals. And then we can create our own set of principles, and we can use some of these principles as well. They can be modified and make our own set for our own, for whatever job we choose to do. We can use them and develop them as we go on. And I hope that we can all come up with our own set of principles. Bye.